This week's tip of the week is should you sell in 2026?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the top reason, or one of the reasons that you should sell in 2026 is if you have a rental property that you need to put money in. So if you need to sink a bunch of money into it to make it rentable, you're probably not going to get that money out, and it's a good time to sell.
Yeah, I love that, Carly, because sometimes, we've sold properties over the years that we know if you have to upgrade certain things, you're just not going to get that money back. So sometimes, if you know those expenses are coming up, to offload and maybe not sink more money into a property that's going down in value, that would be a reason to get out of it.
Yeah. Second reason is if your property's not cash flowing. If you're in a negative cash flow position going into this year, you may want to sell that property and upgrade into a property where you can cash flow. You can take the capital from that sale and put it into a new property where you're going to cash flow a lot more.
Yeah, if you're not cash flowing, your days as an investor are limited. We have to stress that we're only buying cash flow properties for our clients. So if they're not cash flowing, you have to move on from that property. And we are seeing rents go down in this market right now. So you have to be focused on that because we're seeing a lot of people that are coming in from out of province buying in new communities, and the rents have been devastated in some of these new communities, and those properties aren't cash flowing and they're going down at the same time.
Okay, another reason why you might have to sell is if your mortgage is coming up this year and you're going to be rolled into a mortgage with very, very high carrying costs. A lot of our investors got caught out in this last year, but more of these mortgages they were written back in COVID or shortly thereafter, the interest rates are very, very low. 1.99%, 2.5%. So you're getting a really, really low payment, but they're going to roll into a higher payment in today's mortgage rate. So if you have to do that, maybe you got to sell and downgrade the property a little bit.
Yeah, and the fourth reason we've got here is if you can put your money into something else. We've got investors right now that can upgrade their portfolios. You may have a single use property, meaning that you can't build on that property later on, or you can't add a suite. It may be in an area where the rezoning can't happen. So if you can upgrade, I've had properties before in the Northeast, and I no longer own properties in the Northeast because I don't live out that way. I live on the west side, so I don't have properties there. We've upgraded out of them. I used to have a lot of suite properties, and in the end, I didn't need multiple tenants. I just needed less headaches. So I went for not having suite properties. So if you can upgrade your situation, depending where you're at, I mean, we laugh about this all the time because when we started investing, we would buy whatever we could. We were buying on busy roads. We were buying properties that we shouldn't have been buying. But all of those properties over time, we either refinanced and upgraded out of those properties and eventually sold those ones.
Yeah, and the fifth reason to sell in 2026 is if your property is hard to rent out. Now, when does a property become hard to rent out? Usually when it becomes run down or the area around that property becomes run down and the tenant selection is not as good as it used to be when you maybe bought the property years and years and years ago. So if it's hard to rent out, guess what? Maybe it's time to upgrade.
Yeah, and the other reason why it could be hard to rent out is supply levels. There may be a lot of building going on, a lot of condos we're seeing in different communities. So, you know what? If your property is hard to rent out and all those other factors come into play, it may be time to sell in 2026. If you need the go-to team to help sell a rental property, that's what we've been doing for 20 years. We work with clients. We just actually got a property in Rosemont for 900,000 that we can't believe is a rental property right now, and that one's even coming on the market because the owner is deciding to get out of the game. That is our Crew Tip of the Week. If you haven't seen the other tips, subscribe to Crew TV and stay tuned for property tours, market updates, and further tips.